Well, it's time to tap in, Cowboy fans. The Dallas Cowboys were bucked by the Broncos at Empower Field. And, that's one thing about being a traveling fan, Bob, is, when you travel to a game and you pay all that money and you win, it's great to carry the dub back. But when you travel and you spend all that money and you lose, you got to carry that L back. And so we got to carry that L here today with the big three. So y'all tap in with us, Bob. We watched this game together. Pretty quiet game for the most part.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it's it's true, man. We weren't really yelling too much. Didn't have a lot of time to throw my dog the ball. Every time we score, I have a little ritual about now, and I didn't get to make my dog happy, but my dogs ain't happy either. So I mean, I think we expected this, but the beginning of the game gave us a little hope with that interception, and again, I think we got a little blinded by that.
Wait. Don't say interception too loud, baby. I think the Dak haters may be awake after today because speaking of interceptions, QB1 threw not one, but two INTs today. And the Dallas Cowboys offense looked like it hasn't looked the rest of this season. I'm pretty sure it's because of that sack leading defense that the Denver Broncos have that we all talked about here on the pregame show, Bob. But is that what you thought it was when it came to the offense today, or what did you see?
The weird thing is they had Patrick Surtain out for most of the game. You would think that we would just haphazardly just start airing that ball out, but we were trying to stay balanced. I think we were trying to do some smart things. I don't really have too much bad stuff to say about our offensive line. We didn't give up 5 sacks today, did we? I feel like it was a decent enough.
Yeah, Dak was sacked twice. It seemed like he got pressure down there on every play.
The pressure was the bigger deal, I think. And again, when you have time to sit back there as a quarterback in the NFL, no matter what your name is, you're going to have a better chance of completing those passes. And Dak simply didn't have that time the way Bo Nix did. Our offense is horrible, and our defense is horrible, and their offense is pretty good. But that beats us because our offense is amazing and their defense is amazing. So that's a cancel out. And we expected this to happen. I expected us to score more points to keep it a little tighter.
Yeah, at least 30 points. We're good for at least 30 on the road. I know we're good for 40 at home, but Sterling with that green badge is tapping in and says, "We are who I thought we were." And you nail it right on the head because we've been saying that. And I told Bob here, like, we'll tell everybody here on the show again today, like, I think our new slogan here with the big three is prove us wrong, because not only did Bob and I, but Kels, who's with her fan club, and she should be tapping in soon. If not, Bob and I will carry this L for the rest of us here today. But we all three had Denver winning before the season even started. That was before the Micah Parsons trade, which, by the way, I did talk to Terrence Parsons, father of Micah Parsons, while I was out here, boots on ground. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, we all had the Broncos winning, but I knew it was going to be a test. If they could offensively, duke it out with this defense, maybe we might have a chance, but not so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are who we thought we are, Sterling. Very good.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of thought we were a little better than what we showed today, if I'm being honest, man. But again, we definitely aren't the team that we can be simply because we don't have the defense to do it, and that's really the biggest issue.
Yeah. Yep, Kels, I don't know what's going on. I text Bob the link a while ago, too. I had to yell it out to him here as Bob and I are in the studio together, but that link is in the comments, Kels. I apologize. I don't know what's going on. Maybe Verizon shut down or something, but my text message didn't get to Bob, so it probably didn't get to you either, but that link is in the comments, Kels, so that way you can join us on the show. Sterling says, you got to give Peyton his dues. We lost a good team. Yeah, everybody's going to try to run and clown the Cowboys. Of course, Dak haters are awake now. Dak is through 2 interceptions. The offense didn't live up to par. We already all knew that this defense was trash. So, but this was also the best defense in the league. And granted, our defense, like, what was that you said during the game, Bob? Like, what was that you had some kind of like wizard read.
Yeah. Well, I just basically said that if you just put the math up on the board, let's say 1 out of 100 is the scale we're working with. Our offense is 100, their defense is 100. That's canceled out. We have to go against. Now we have to put their offense against our defense. Their offense is 60. Our offense is a 1. So that's exactly how that game was won. Our offense simply outscored us to the point where we could not outscore them. And that's a bad matchup for us. That's why the defense is so important here, because even if we put up a bit of a fight, we could get close enough to make Brandon Aubrey be the decision maker today. But we didn't do that. We were so beat that we could not get back from getting beat, and we just never seemed to be able to take a lead. And that's really the problem. I mean, they canceled us out on offense and defense, and their offense is better than our defense. So
hey, I knew Bo Nix and J.K. Dobbins were going to be a problem. I told you here last week, especially everybody on the Patreon, Bo Nix led all players last week in fantasy football, and then this week he carved up the defense. I told you if you had anybody, start them against this Dallas defense. Dallas gives up 141 yards per game on the ground, and today Bo Nix 19 of 29, 247 yards, 4 touchdowns, and then of course the 1 interception, which that interception, yeah, it's an interception. I'll give him credit, but that was just a misfire by Bo Nix right there. It was behind his receiver, and yes, our DB made a play on the ball, and yes, we did get the pick, but it wasn't like somebody made a play and made a pick. But nevertheless, 4 touchdowns. Bo Nix out there looking like a Hall of Fame quarterback, Bob.
Yeah. And I want to just put my opinion out here right now. If we had Micah Parsons today in this game, we still would have lost this game. I don't know what makes people don't. He doesn't cover. He's not out there. We've had a safety and cornerback issue since day one on this team, and everybody's crying about a freaking edge rusher and all these other things that a linebacker. That's not going to matter. Chicago showed it to us. New York showed it to us. All you got to do is chuck it up against these horrible cornerbacks, and you're going to either get a call or a catch. And that's exactly what happened all day, with the exception of Bland, who also is not the way Bland used to be. He didn't even get talked about today because they didn't throw to his side. They didn't need to. They just keep throwing it at Bridges and Elam and all the horrible defensive backs we got back there, and they're gonna just wail on us. And that's why he got 4 touchdowns, and we simply couldn't come up with more than 2.
Yeah, speaking of defense, Terrence Parsons, father of Micah Parsons. Yes, that's right. Boots on ground out here in Denver at the Denver Passport last night, where all the Cowboy fans were at. So shout out to One Star One Family. He shared with me, he felt that the Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers could be in the NFC Championship game. And I looked at him and I said, Terrence, you sure about that? You sure about that, Terrence? Because I'm going to run with that. He said, you can run with that. And I'm saying, hey, I feel you. I like it, especially if we can get to an NFC Championship game, but not this team today, not with this defense. And with the trade deadline coming up, Bob, I think with this loss today, this raises the noise up loud. We already heard the news. Trayvon Diggs now on IR, did not travel with the team. It looks like he's all but traded. What do you think now might happen after this Broncos loss coming up with this trade deadline November 4th? Does this really put the squeeze on Jerry and the Joneses with that checkbook?
It does, but what puzzles me is that it's not just our fan base that's out there screaming for an edge rusher as opposed to a corner or a free safety and strong safety. It's every talking head you see on the NFL Network, ESPN. They're all talking about defensive ends that we need, and I have no idea why they can't see how bad our defensive backs are. And it goes to show you, on a day like today, we're not only short on defensive backs, but we have to have our second and third string defensive backs come into play. That's a recipe for disaster, man. So if we're going to talk about free agency, if we're going to talk about making moves, I think we need to chill the hell out on defensive end and spend some money on some freaking safeties and some corners.
I just seen something somewhere. Somebody, I think Javier Gonzalez down there in Corpus Christi. Shout out to Javier. I know my girl Caitlin is tapping in knows right now. Add some context. It says the trend continues now 2-8 to Denver with the last win in 95 and the last win. Yeah, it's the Broncos bucked the Cowboys. The Broncos bucked them boys tonight, and they've been bucking us for a number of years, and they're going to continue to hold that title. But thank you for that context, Caitlin. But yeah, I mean, this was a sack-leading defense. We knew this defense was going to be tough. We knew that this was going to be a game where the Cowboys could technically prove us wrong, kind of like our new slogan here. And they didn't prove nobody wrong, especially I didn't see Dak throwing 2 interceptions. He's been taking care of the ball extremely well. I think they showed that stat, 3 touchdowns over the last 5 games with 0 picks. And it was almost like they set the stage for it. But, that's just the 2 interceptions. Outside of that, the bright spot was Javonte Williams against his former team. He did rush for 2 touchdowns. So we'll take a look at his stats on that. Running game was there. We see Jaden Blue come in, but Jaden Blue dropped the baby, Bob.
He had a couple decent runs, and after that fumble, he was getting hit in the backfield again. And he's not, the reason why he's not doing well is because he didn't learn the playbook fast enough, I don't think, and I don't believe we had a chance to give him enough reps. But again, their defense stopped the number 1 offense and one of the number 1 air attacks in the NFL today, leaving us with only 14 points on the board while they scored 40 plus on us. That's insane when you think about how good this offense is. But again, I spoke about this in the pregame. We need to start really calming down with our expectations, man. I've been trying to say this entire season. We are in a rebuilding year, and no one wants to believe it. Now you're going to believe it, because this defense is as good as we can get with the team that we have. And until we start making some moves in free agency, or even fast forward up to the draft, this is what our defense is going to look like. I think we can probably stop yelling at Eberflus too a little bit, because he's not out there out there on the field. He's not getting burnt. He's not 10 yards off a wide receiver, and when a wide receiver catches the ball, they still can't make the tackle.
Well, I mean, look at Caitlin bringing the context for the ladies here, sums it up quite nicely. Says, in fairness, it's super difficult for DBs to cover when the opposing quarterback is virtually untouched.
That's true.
There was a point, I think we had 0 pressures, 0 sacks. Let me see, did the Cowboys have any sacks? No sacks. No sacks.
No, man. And that's very
true. Jerry says we are good with our guys, Bob. And getting back to this trade deadline, I'm thinking it's going to put the squeeze on Jerry. I'm interested to see how the Joneses are going to finagle their way on a microphone. I'm most definitely looking forward to the post-game interviews tonight. You know, I'm going to listen to Shotty. I'm going to listen to Jerry. I'm going to listen to all the players. We're going to clip that up because we want to hear what they have to say, especially Dak. I know the Dak haters want to hear what Dak has to say, because they seem to just think, well, we lost because he couldn't carry the offense. But this was a sack-leading defense again. You know, not giving any you know, hey, we'll just take a a mental win here. Yeah,
right.
We did okay. No, that's not the case. We knew it was going to be tough, and the Cowboys could have got this win, Bob. Me and you were talking about it. This would have set the table, because now we got Arizona up next, then we got the bye where everybody can get healthy. Then we got Las Vegas going down, where everybody that was out here for One Star One Family will be out for the tailgate and the pep rally. One Star One Family in Las Vegas, but it would have been nice to get that dub today and then be able to go to, go home for Carolina, then go on the bye, get some healthy, get some players back, maybe get Debo back, but then come out of the bye against Vegas. But not so much. Now we got to go and get ready for Carolina, who also seems to always have it out for the Cowboys, in which, oh, by the way, if Kyler Murray's quarterback, I think he's undefeated at AT&T Stadium in his life.
Yeah, and I want to also piggyback on what Caitlin said too. She's right, and in fairness, the situation is, if the DBs are good, or if the ends are good, then the cornerbacks are really kind of, I don't know how to say moot, but the deal is you want to have both, right? Because if you've got cornerbacks and safeties that are good enough to cover your wide receivers, then the ends are eventually going to get to the quarterback. So what she's saying is right, and the opposite of what she's saying is actually right too. But that's when you have to have the balance on the team. And we just don't have any of that. We don't have defensive tackles that can do what they need to do. We don't have ends. We don't have linebackers yet that are very good. And our quarterbacks and safeties. Defense.
I think I asked you 2-3 times. Who's that again? Who's that again? Because we've had so many people injured, I can't even keep up. But Kales, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good deal. Glad to have you joining us in.
Yeah, girl.
How you feeling out there in the nation's capital after the Broncos just bucked us at Empower Field?
Well, like I said on the pregame show, this is the game where you will basically know if the team is who they are, or this is a team that can really compete. And this evening, it's right on film. This team is who they say they are. I was listening a little bit to what Bob was saying as far as, with the trade deadline coming up, that everyone is screaming they need, someone in the interior, but we also need someone on the secondary. I think you need both, because one complements the other.
You're right.
And
I just thought it was unrealistic that we could do that, because we don't even have a defensive end trade happening right now.
Well, so I think somebody in the media asked Jerry recently, Bob, about trading, and Jerry was leaning towards secondary not being in the defensive end route wheelhouse, maybe alluding to that. So, but yeah, like Kale said, we need both.
Yeah, you're right, because they will both cancel each other out in good and badness. So you're right. And I just don't think I didn't say that because I didn't think in any form or fashion we have a team or an owner that's going to be like, you know what, let's go ahead and trade for a corner and an end. Like, I just didn't think that was realistically going to happen. So I mean,
it can, and it has happened before. Has it happened with us? That's remains to be seen. But for us having a pass rusher, that with us having a solid pass rusher, it makes it easy for the plays for our secondary.
Yeah, because you got no pass rush on Bo Nix. Like you said, nobody's getting any pressure on him. He's standing back there, going through one, not two, but three, but four, maybe five, maybe going through all five of them again, all progressions, and then picking out which one he wants to throw it to. So, yeah. I mean, you and I, Bob, could probably get back there and do that if we ain't getting touched. You know what I mean?
Just give me
maybe Kels too. Man. I don't know. What you think, Kels? You think you could get back there and throw for a couple touchdowns without getting sacked, getting touched, no pressure?
Now, see, I'm more of a defensive girl. I like to knock people out. So.
I'm with you. Okay, that's a Randy White coming out of it right there. But Anais is tapping in. He says, "Seemed like average play calling, and why we putting in Blue against this defense? Don't think Blue is ready." Which Blue dropped the baby. Today.
I think that's something you've got to do now. The formula for single running back per team is just not going to happen anymore. It's all, not only are you protecting your investment by having two running backs run instead of just killing one guy. It's a way to make the other guy have some rest time. So we had to put him in for a few plays. I mean, he wasn't in there for 20 straight, but they were also stuffing Williams too on a couple plays. So he wasn't as effective today as he could be. Because the defense is freaking really, really good. They are the best defense in the NFL right now. And they have bad days and good days. Today they had a great day, and they always seem to have great days against us. But again, I do believe that, if we're talking about what we need, hell, throw a linebacker in there too. Because outside of Overshown, there's really nobody that I think is going to be able to pick it up in the linebacker room to make anything look better. You know, thankfully, we haven't had quarterbacks running all over us on every single game, only maybe one. But yeah, man, we just got too many things missing on defense to do anything competitive at this point.
So go ahead. So here's my thing. I mean, I'm glad that they put Jaden Blue in because we have to keep Javonte fresh, for the remainder of the season. If I was Shoddy and our RB coach, Malik Davis was activated on the 53-man roster, I would have been using both of them. That's just me.
And I didn't hear Davis to the end of the game.
Shout out to Eric Taylor with that green badge tapping in. Says, "Sup guys, rough few days, and today made it worse. In regards to trades, I'm wondering what our offense and because SB Nation for the Bengals said Cowboys could call to offer Hendrickson, but Bengals declined. Yeah, I think Hendrickson is now injured too. But I've been saying this, and I will say this to everybody in the audience here again today. Don't be surprised if the trade deadline comes and goes, and we don't make any moves. Although I hope we do. But just know, strap up your seatbelts and get your popcorn ready because after that, it's going to be a long ride for the rest of the season. And I think that's maybe what's been happening. We may be getting slow rolled up until this trade deadline because we kind of been hearing we're good with our guys. Because really, who is really available, Kels? There's not really nobody available for us to
it's not
like that, is there?
It's not. I mean, anybody could pull up the free agency list. And when you look at the names on there, you be like, yeah, I think I'm good.
And they wouldn't be on that list still if they were worth keeping for any format in any team.
And honestly, when you look at it, the only name that's popping out that is still on the free agency list would be Asante Samuel Jr. The only reason why nobody is basically pulling the plug on him was because of those two neck injuries that he has had since he's been in the league. He's still in his prime. He's 26 years old. He still got the legs and everything. He can play both man and zone, especially with this flu zone defense that he wants to run. But it's the neck injuries, and that's one, and that also sublines into why nobody in the within the 32 teams are pulling on Stephon Gilmore because of that, the injuries that he has had, and this last injury that he got when he was with Minnesota, that kind of basically like did him in.
Yeah.
Well, what can you tell us, Kels? Any new intels? I know there was some developments with Trey going on to the IR. We know he didn't travel with the team because you broke that down to us last show on the pregame show about concussion. They can't travel under the concussion protocol. But now with Trey being placed on the IR and the trade deadline coming up, I mean, Jerry's saying everything, but no, we don't want to trade Trey. But do you possibly see Trayvon Diggs being traded before the trade deadline?
I don't know. I think the issue. So here's the issue. Who's going to take over that contract? Who's going to take over that contract? Because if nobody takes over that contract and we trade them, then we're stuck with it. We're stuck with that contract. And that's going to mess up our salary cap.
Yeah. Bob, what was your thoughts after hearing Trey went to the IR? We knew he didn't travel with the team, and that was, like we had talked about, smelling a little stinky like fish. But what's your thoughts on now him going on to the IR and maybe this deadline?
I don't know what to think anymore because I was 100% certain we would not trade Micah Parsons. So when it comes to this front office, I honestly don't know what they're doing, and I guess that's a good thing, right? Because that means that they're not predictable. That for me, that's okay. What I think is going to happen is at the very least, if we do, like Kel said, if we find some sucker who's going to pick up his contract and trade evenly with him, we're probably going to get a third or fourth for him, maybe. I don't see anyone giving us anything big for him. And if that's the case, then why even bother doing that?
But at the same time, we'll trade with a fifth round pick. Sounds like something Jerry would do.
And
right?
and then also we will be stuck with that contract for the remaining of that contract, which is 2028. That's with guaranteed money. Is no years avoided on that contract.
So it's probably just going to be some rough riding, some rough sledding ahead for Trayvon Diggs, especially now going to the IR. But with that being said, I mean, what happens with the secondary? Bland was out there today. We seen Khair Elam out there. I even had to ask Bob a couple times what a couple of those guys' names was out there. Kels, who do you see being the main person to take Diggs' spot there on that other side of Bland?
Probably if we keep working with him. I like Traquez Bridges. I do. That will probably be the only one. We don't know what's going to happen with Savon Revel. His 21-day window it is activated and open, but there is no definitive timeline when he will, when his debut will be. A lot of people saying it's going to be Vegas since his window was open the same time as Demo. But Demo has, they both have accelerated and progressed in their rehab. Really, Savon was supposed to be, his window was supposed to be active the week before Demo's was, which was week 6, the beginning of week 6. But they had to get him adjusted and used to the brace that is on his leg. So that's why they pushed his activation window the same Wednesday, which was last Wednesday, as Demo. But he still has a TBD listed on another form that I have that I cannot release. That says we don't know when he will actually debut.
Yeah, no, I get that because that's like hot commodity. We know that even Kels with the intels would have to pull a few strings and hit a few switches in order to make that happen. But with that being said, somebody's going to have to be the next man up. I mean, we're really running thin, it seems like, with all of these injuries because you shared the injury report in the group this week, and we still have a ton of folks on there that's been questionable, and it's been in the secondary, and especially now with Trayvon going to the IR, it's going to be all bad, I think, come after this trade deadline. If you think Cowboy fans are upset after the day's loss, woo-wee, that's why we've been trying to get y'all ready. Don't be surprised if the trade deadline comes, even though we got 2-round picks. And this is uncharted territory for us, right, Bob? We haven't never had picks like this. We ain't never had money in the bank like this. And then now we're going to just not do anything before the trade deadline.
So this is what I'm
That makes
thinking
sense
is
to me.
going to happen. This is what I'm thinking is going to happen. This is just my brain. This is not intel from who I know. They're going to keep him on IR for 4 games, right? They can basically keep you on IR for 3. So we have 3 weeks, right? Technically 4. We have 4 weeks because we have Arizona, we have the bye, we have the Raiders after the bye.
Yeah, and then we got the
Then we
Eagles
had
after that.
Eagles. After that Eagles game, or right before that Eagles game kickoff, they're going to move Trayvon Diggs from the regular IR to season ending IR. My gut is telling me that's what's going to happen.
I mean, it's possible because there is a catch when if he's hurt with that guaranteed money situation, and if that's going on, we could release him. But again, I think we still have to wind up paying him. So I mean, I don't know. The other thing is I know we don't want to keep looking back at the years of past and say that we're hoping this year Jerry does something different. But listen, all we do is draft, and that's what we are. That's what we find most of our success with our team. The players that we draft are really the ones that we throw money at. It's very, very rare that we do it with free agency anymore, especially since the whole Galloway thing many years ago and all that stuff, where we were throwing lots of money at players just because they were superstars at one point in their life, but not anymore. We have to get used to the fact, or at least try and get used to the thought that Jerry's going to sit on his hands during free agency right now because there's really no one out there worth getting, and there's really no one worth trading right now for. And then on top of that, we've got all this draft capital that he just is dying to have. How happy he was that we got 2 first-round picks. So that's what it's going to be about. It's going to be about the draft coming up. And after this season is over and we have a losing season, he's going to get us all hyped about the draft, and we're just going to go on the train again.
Because, Kels, I think I remember you told us, if not on the pregame show, or maybe here recently, that the Cowboys are leaning more towards defense in this upcoming draft. That's what you've been hearing in terms of your intel sources.
Yeah, because this 2026 is very heavily saturated with defense.
Ooh,
and
I can't wait to position predictions.
That's linebackers, edge, tackles, secondary. And it's a lot of quarterbacks coming out of this draft class, but this one is very heavily saturated with defense. I can't remember who posted it, but about Elijah Clark, I have no information
on his
yet
ribs,
as far as
on
his rib injury.
Yeah, that's just fresh. So yeah, everybody's banged up. So normally we'll start seeing the injury report around Wednesday, right, Kels? You'll drop that first one after practice that week, and we'll get more intel on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and until then, we'll just have to tap in and listen to the post-game interviews. Y'all know I'll be tapping in and clipping notes up. I'm looking for the player interviews, the coach interviews, hearing what Jerry had to say, hearing what the coach had to say. But this was the game that we all said the Cowboys could get a chance to prove us wrong. And that's kind of our slogan here now is prove us wrong, because we all three had Denver for the win today. That checked out. But it's really tough when you pick another team to beat your team because your defense fucking sucks and it's trash, and anybody could meet. All three of us could get out there and probably score against our defense.
But this was a complete team loss on offense and defense. It was no pass rush, no pass protection. It was just no pass anything. And then these penalties. I mean, like we was given penalties like it was
Halloween
candy. Yeah, like candy.
And we thought that went away because it did for the first couple games, and that's really another sad thing about this. We know Schottenheimer's got the offense ready. I don't know why we've been cursed with this, but I think it happens a lot. A lot of teams get hit with this. The referees are picky and choosy on a lot of stuff too.
And one of those. No, go ahead.
I was just saying that there's still specific teammates that we have. There are players in our team that seem to always be getting flagged. So I don't think it's a culture thing. I think it's a personal thing for some of these players on our team that just don't have what it takes to just be focused and do what they need to do in these big situations.
Vondale's tapping in, Kels, and says, hey, what about Eric Kendricks? I know he posted something on Instagram recently with a Cowboys helmet, kind of letting us know he's still available. What do you think about going and scooping up Kendrick before the trade deadline?
We have yet another stubborn defensive coordinator. Put the pieces to the puzzle to that. Now, had this been like Zimmer would have been on the. I mean, Zimmer is a lot of things, and I was critical with him as well, but Zimmer would have put the bat signal out there, and honestly, Zimmer was, I think Kendrick was still with us when Zimmer came in.
Kendrick was actually, I think, led the team in tackles last season with the Cowboys. He was quietly a very good defender.
Yeah, he was a little silent assassin for on that linebacker room. And Zimmer had him QB spying a lot last year, more than what Dan Quinn did. But both of them would be very cheap to get. But one of those sacks, I can't blame Dak because Steele and Guyton.
Steele gets rocked, man.
Yeah,
he gets
beat.
Guyton
is the one that got 2 or 3 penalties in a row. I'm telling you, I was telling Bob, he led the league last year as the top offensive lineman on pre-snap penalties.
Yeah, but
and today he had like 2 or 3 or something because the Cowboys had 9 penalties to their 7 on the Broncos. I took a look at that.
And then
wide open receivers.
That one of those sacks.
Well, I mean, good thing he was only sacked twice. I thought maybe they were going to get to Dak more, especially after the way that game started out. I was like, oh God, just pray Dak gets out of here not hurt.
Yeah, I was praying. I was just praying on that part. I didn't care if they kept him upright, but it was that one of those plays that led to one of the sacks. Tyler and Steele both got outbeat by them 11 million pound interior linemen that Denver has, and that got sacked. And then one of those plays on which is on Guyton, caused one of those picks. So
we got problems everywhere. And even when we thought we didn't have problems with this offense, Dak throws 2 picks, couldn't throw for 200 yards, didn't throw for a touchdown. If you'd have told me Dak wouldn't have thrown for a touchdown today, especially with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I mean, Kills, what were you seeing offensively from that? Where was the breakdown on the CeeDee Lamb, the passing game with Pickens and Dak, and it's been so effective?
It was no passing game. It was no, and I mentioned that on the
was it poor play calling, or was it poor play calling, or was it?
It wasn't.
It's a good defense.
It's a good defense, and I mentioned on the post game that they have. Well, I have to calculate now, but before they even played us, they only allowed 93 rushing yards during their first 7 games.
Yeah.
And they are a menace when it comes to rushing and passing.
Anais is tapping in and says, what up, CJ Gardner out there watching the games from his couch like us? Kels, anything? What about CJ? No good? Or his credit good or what?
CJ Gardner. I don't want CJ Gardner.
You're too damaged?
Because he just after who was he with after the Eagles?
I can't keep up. I don't know, Bob.
He went to one team and he was just recently released. Then Baltimore picked him up, and then Baltimore released him.
Yeah. Larry says, so what if they have guys out? They need a hardcore coach to help this damn team. I don't think it's it's the coaching. You can't coach a player not to get injured. You know, players are getting injured, and there's nothing that we can do about that. And even, I mean, we seen the backup.
Even without the injuries, I don't know if this playbook that Flus is running is not translating with the team that we already had. And Denver proved it today. Like, their communication on both sides of the ball is top notch. When I said they played as a team, it was no hero ball. Everything was in sync with this team. But I saw somebody, I can't find who said it. My thing is, it's not so much that Tyler Guyton is trash. He is a better right tackle than he is a left tackle. Look at tapes from his whole football career. He has always been right tackle. And then when he got to college and he started being on like the varsity team, they moved him from right to left. He is
typical Cowboys. We're always taking players and moving them out of position. That's a whole nother story,
and that's another thing. We have a lot of players that is not playing in their natural position. It's a difference if you're hybrid. Yeah, like it's a difference if you're a hybrid. Like you're a hybrid player. Like you could play all positions and everything. But when you are a natural talent in one aspect and you have no knowledge of the other side, that can cause a recipe for disaster. And I like Nate Thomas. I love Nate Thomas. He is a natural left tackle.
Yeah, I think I yelled that after Tyler got 2 flags. I was like, put fucking Nate Thomas in, Bob. I mean, shit.
And I'm like, he can play right tackle, but he is a 100% left tackle position player. Tyler Guyton is a natural 100% right tackle position player. And I wanted him on the Cowboys because of what I've seen him play on the right side. He is actually better than Terrence Steele. But then as soon as we drafted him, a couple of days later, Dan Quinn like, oh, we're going to move him. We're going to keep him on the left side. And I was like, no.
But, I mean, why is he still there? That's a whole other question. But Delon taps in and says, no, it's discipline. Guyton is not there
yet. That's a part of it, too.
That's a part of it, too. You take a player out of their natural position, and then they become subjective to making mistakes because they're out of position.
Yeah.
Bob, you think that kind of carries over if a player goes from his natural position to a new position? It kind of maybe is that why Guyton's is incurring these flags? It just seemed like easy money, just pull him off and put him on the right side.
Yeah, I've been saying that since we got Micah Parsons, man. That guy would have been one of the greatest linebackers in the NFL right now if we just decided to keep him at his natural position, like he was playing. But we saw speed in him. We saw get off the line kind of thing, and then we just morphed him into something else. And again, I think Micah is a bad example in this situation because Micah's a monster, and I think he would have excelled in either. And I don't think there's a lot of people like that. I'm just saying we do tend to do that. We do tend to make safeties into corners and vice versa. But I don't think we don't have the depth to do anything like that right now, man.
Right.
You only can do that when you've got good second stringers.
And the only difference with Micah, the reason why we moved him was because we was so loaded on linebackers and everything that could make plays. We had a deficiency when it came to the pass rushing, and Dan Quinn was like, "Oh, Micah, let's try something new," and then that's what happened. As far as and here's my one gripe. One coach I've gotten to know very well on offense, Ramon Chan Jr., who is the offensive who is the assistant offensive line coach and strength conditioning coach.
Yeah, he was out there at Howard with him, right? Boots on ground a couple years ago.
And you have Connor Riley and you have Clayton Adams. Now, I've been around Tyler Guyton and I sized him up. This is a big boy. He's tall, but he's a big boy. And one thing I look at, and I don't want people to get any type of freaky ideas or anything like that, I looked at his hands because I asked him, I said, let me see your hands. His hands is 2 times bigger than mine. And a lot of the penalties that he is having is his hand positioning and his feet placement. And he got big feet. So when you
got 2 left feet.
Well, not left feet, but the thing is, when you have a good OC, a good offensive line coach, you got a good assistant offensive line coach who is very talented as being a strength and conditioning coach. Why the 3 of you not working with him with his feet placement and his hand positioning? That's all I gotta say.
Well, that's week 8. The Cowboys got bucked by the Broncos at Mile High up here at Empower Field. Yes, I did travel down here. I'm glad that I didn't pay all that money to get those $400 upper level tickets because I would have been mad as hell leaving out, especially after today. But I do feel bad for all those fans that came out here. But hey, I will see a lot of y'all that were out here. I had to come and spend some time with my guy Bob down here in the basement, so to speak. We've been kind of talking shop and doing some things. We were at good chemistry today and got some content. I appreciate you taking me over there. So I was chilling with you, but yeah, we'll be revved up for Vegas. But before we get to that, we got the Cardinals coming up at home next week, Kales, and Tyler Murray is undefeated at AT&T Stadium still.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the year that we're going to break this. I mean,
we're gonna have to because we got that bye next week after the Cardinals. Yeah, and it just gonna be too much really right if we can get that dub and then go into that bye and clean ourselves up.
Right, and I'm really not. That's why I'm really not sulking that much with this game and everything. But Arizona has always been that tricky gadget team. Yeah, like, man, when you look at the roster, you look at what they look like on paper and all this other stuff. I'm like, man, we could smoke.
Don't they have? No, they got Marvin Harrison there and Kyler Murray. I think that's about it, right?
They got.
Trey McBride. They always seem to play well when they come into AT&T Stadium, no matter who's the quarterback. Remember who's that guy?
Or if we go to Sun Devil, but they also got that tight end Trey McBride, who is good. I got him on a couple of.
Yeah, there he is.
I got him on a couple of my fantasy teams, but still, when you look at it, you be like, man, these some Bamas. This is my DC slang coming out. Like, we could murk these dudes and stuff, but like I said, they are a fidgety gadget team. And the Cowboys is always the CVS pharmacy of a lot of these teams. When they are like, they can have 0 wins and everything, but they come to us and they find out what their ailment is. They get fixed and they come out with a win.
Yeah. Well, I took a little R&R with my guy Bob last night. We hung out at the Cervantes down in Denver. Bob introduced me to Pete and Baz, a couple of old grimy dudes from South London, bro. They rocked the crowd last night. You had your meet and greet, Bob. Tell everybody like that's who familiar with Pete and Baz, what it was like for you to meet them and go to that concert there last night in Denver. This is their first tour on the States.
Yeah, man, that was actually pretty cool, man. Again, I put it in the review that I put up. It was cool to meet them. They've got bars, man, and I think when I discovered them, I thought it was a big joke. And then, as someone who grew up in hip hop and understands hip hop and understands lyricism and content, these guys do it right, and it's crazy that they're almost 80 each, both of them doing it. So they have a big internet presence. There's a couple other bands that they're associated with, but yeah, they got so big that this is the first time they decided to come to America, and they only did it for the month of October. And they started off in Miami, my hometown, and then they're working their way across the country. And maybe they come back, sometime soon, but maybe they don't. So I just had to jump on it. The meet and greets weren't exactly expensive at all. They were very nice to the fans. They signed anything you wanted. and they took pictures, as many as you wanted. They were really, really cool. And then they tore it down after, waiting a couple hours through a couple bands that weren't necessarily the greatest, but I knew the headliner would pay it off. So anybody who doesn't know who Pete and Baz is, go to YouTube, type in Pete and Baz, and listen to these guys. They spit bars.
Go to Bob's YouTube, man. Get your link and send it to me, Bob. We'll put it in the chat. Y'all go check out Bob's YouTube channel. He had it recorded there live last night. Now, Kels, I know you was over there with your fan club today out there at DC Nation, right? How was y'all doing? Did y'all go to watch party today at Tom's Watch Bar?
Yeah. And we just watched. That's all we could do. But
that's all Bob and I did. We could just watch in here. Like we said, it was like crickets up in here. Like, okay.
Yeah. And Sterling, we have hit the hardest part of our schedule. It started with the Broncos. That's why I said the other games really don't matter. It's from the Broncos here on out. And then Donnie, his comment, it's not so much the win that we have to get. This is not the one. We need to get the taste out. We need to get the taste of Carolina and Chicago out. That's why I'm really not.
Yeah.
I'm really not, Yeah, this one really is not stinging or giving me a foul taste. It's that Chicago. No, let me back it up. It's that New York game, even though we won, that New York, Chicago, and Carolina. Those 3 games that we got to get that taste out.
And again, I want everybody in Cowboys world to not get so down like Kels is saying right now. The real fact of the matter is we played the best defense in the league. This team has only lost offense 2 times. Right. And this team has only lost 2 times by a combination of 4 points to the Indianapolis Colts, who are absolute monsters right now, and the Chargers, who are conference as a division rival of theirs, I believe. Right? Chargers? I don't know. Regardless, that's only 2 teams that they've lost to this year. They put a lot on us because our defense is worse than any team they have played this year. So I want everyone to understand that this whole view right now is a bit imbalanced. We are a better team than we showed today for sure, but we're still not good on defense.
And BG, do you have the thing that I sent you? I know I text both of y'all, but I also put it in your IG. This is what our defense looks like.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
This gives you a very good depiction of what this defense is like.
We are 30th in points per game, defense, that is, defending points per game. 30th, we are last in total yards. We are last in passing yards, and we are last in opponent third down percentage. Those are absolute game killers right there. You don't get to the playoffs with that shit.
Yeah, I got it. I'm going to pull it up right here, so sorry about that. But yeah,
that's crazy.
Bob already broke that down. But for all those visual types.
Yeah.
Here it is right here, Kels.
That's horrible.
Kels, this is what you sent me? Yeah.
We had one game that we looked decent in, and that was last week. And that was just because they were depleted on offense. We have to start understanding that if we look really, really good on defense this year, it's because we're not playing a good offense. That's going to be plain and simple the answer right there. We do have a chance to get into the playoffs because our division is wacky. But we won't go far with this defense playing as it's playing right now with the team that we have right now on defense. We get healthier, Overshown will help. I don't know that Revel or anybody coming back to be strong on corner and safety is going to bring us over the top. But I think even if we are 25th, 20th, 18th in defense, we can still go much further than we're going right now.
Yeah, well, the Cardinals are up on the schedule next week, and some home cooking is just what we need. But we all had the Denver Broncos winning on our schedules that we put out before the season started. And, it's kind of our prove it wrong season. So we're going to need the Cowboys to prove us wrong by going home and beating the Cardinals, like my girl Kel said, because Cardinals always seem like they got our numbers. And this is also an NFC matchup that we're going to have to pay attention with because the Cowboys now 3-4-1. It's just that tie, man. I hate saying that tie.
Isn't it gross?
Yeah,
it is.
But see, the thing is, the tie looks very good on Green Bay because they have the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
That part. Well, It's your big three. This has been the recap show. That's my guy, Bob. We've been boots on ground out here in Colorado. Shout out to all the Cowboy fans that showed up. It was deep, man. There was a lot of Cowboy fans out here at the event at One Star One Family. I look forward to seeing y'all all out at the tailgate in Las Vegas. I will be at both the pep rally and the tailgate in Las Vegas. I know many of y'all will be out there. And Kels, we appreciate you tapping into today as well. We got this game coming up next week, prime time Sunday night on Arizona. So we're going to have to try to figure out when we're going to get this pregame and postgame show set up for the prime time this coming week.
Well, I don't have watch parties on night games. Okay. Unless it's like on a 3-day weekend. But
okay. So maybe we get both shows in on the same day then. Does that sound about right? Maybe, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right.
I'll be in my PJs, but I'll
it'll be late over there. We understand that. Bob's been telling me all about that from being from Miami out here by way of Denver. So
it's crazy.
We appreciate y'all tapping in, especially on Facebook and on YouTube. It's the Big Three. We are signing out. The Cowboys got bucked by the Broncos in Mile High. Ooh, it's time to flush it. See y'all on the next episode.
Peace.
Turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.